First, I just want to say shout out to North Carolina for letting me wear a t-shirt the first week of February. That's just really cool. Going back to that concept of 4 seasons and 4 hours. This is proof. Let's see, what's on the brain today? I just got done catching up and hanging out with a friend of mine. And it was cool to be able to talk about community and how community and activity, and specifically art, brought us together. And in us being brought together, it gave us a chance to develop a friendship. We, in today's world, we throw around this word community a lot. Oh my gosh, it's such a buzzword, but do we really know what it means to be in community, to build community, to support community, and what it does for us? It's more than just there's 2 forms of community. There's the people who are in direct proximity to you, and that is your community in a sense. But I like to think that I would ascribe that more to society. You can't necessarily choose your neighbors, but I think you have the ability to choose your community. And in order for you to choose your community, it requires you to go out and explore and experience different communities. You have to step outside of your bubble, your home, your natural world, and just immerse yourself to some degree in another place, surrounded by different people who come from different walks of life. There may be some similarities to yours along the way, but you have to be mindful of the environment and the people you keep. I just finished my 2nd book of the year. I didn't start it this year, but I have finished it up. And it was Hun Tzu, which was a Chinese military, not just military, but he was ancient Chinese philosopher, a student of Confucius, and he had a lot of really amazing things to talk about in terms of civility, rites and rituals, the importance of common language. And the last chapter, which was what he's most known for in his basic writings, is having the argument and the stance that man's nature is evil. And evil in the sense of it's kind of chaotic, it's irresponsible, it is really emotionally driven. And he was arguing against another student who would say that no, man's nature is good, but he basically said that, well, if man's nature was inherently good, then why do we have principles of goodness? Why do we have rituals that make us better? If we were already good, we shouldn't need anything to make us good, right? And at the end of this book, the last line, oh my gosh, it said something along the lines of, if you want to know a man, look to his friends. If you want to know a ruler, look to his advisors. Environment is everything. Environment is everything. Oh, gosh. I mean, we've heard the phrase, birds of a feather flock together, and it is so true. We humans are tribal creatures, right? I know some people feel some type of way about, when certain people, white people, will say my tribe, but I don't think one particular race or ethnicity can claim the right that we invented the tribal system. The tribal system was in us before there was even concepts of race and division like that. So we can't just say that, no, you can't use the word tribe. I believe that anybody can use the word tribe. Now, if you say tribe and then all of a sudden you want to put on a grass skirt and then start, speaking like an individual tribe that might be around now, then yeah, you are kind of problematic. But we humans, again, tribal creatures from the beginning of time. If you follow like the evolutionary link, if we, through millions of years, reached humanity coming from primates, apes have tribal systems. They have hierarchies of orders of powers, and we are no different. The thing that allowed us to survive in the early days of nature was our ability to form units and groups and communities. And in a tribe, like, everybody had a specific role and a function. And nowadays, like, it continues to remind me how essential it is to be surrounded by people who align with your values. And I don't necessarily want to just go and say like you have to live in a bubble, because that's also can be harmful and problematic. Like, I think that you should have a core tribe and then have the ability to step out of that tribe and experience other communities and other tribes and other walks of life. What I'm getting at, though, is during this conversation with a friend, and I was mentioning how I'm in the process of seeking new community. And I want to seek new community because I am also recognizing that I am not the same person I was 4 years ago when I stepped foot into one particular community. And I want to surround myself with people who are, on similar walks of life to me. It doesn't have to be the exact same, but I'd like there to be some core values and belief systems that we can both, or all of us, mutually meet under. And as I'm realizing, as I'm going about this practice, it takes work. It takes vulnerability. It takes effort to step foot into a new place, not knowing who's going to be there and who's not going to be there, and just say, all right, I'm here. But it is very beneficial and worth it when you do it, because then you find, again, a piece of yourself in a new place. I don't think it's a problem at all, but I do sometimes raise my eyebrow at people who are like still friends with the same people that they were friends with in high school. And I don't mean like you can still have friends from people in high school. Hold on one second. So I think what I was meant to say was, it's okay to be able to be friends with people since your youth and your early days of life, so long as those friends are also evolving. I think if you're still doing the same stuff and acting like y'all are still high schoolers, then that is where the issue with the self-development kind of comes into play. Which is why, again, it's good to seek new community. It's good to ask yourself, is this group fulfilling me and sustaining me like I need it to? And it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to just excise yourself completely or exile the community and be like, I can never be a part of it. But maybe you reorient how much time and energy you dedicate to that one community and ask yourself if there's another that you can dedicate yourself to. One of the things I like about my life is two things. One, my ability to my ability to be invited to places, to be open to going to something different, to have a sense of like, oh no, I'll check it out. If you invite me, I'm more than likely going to at least pull up and see what it might be like. I might not come back a bunch of times, or I might, but I've always been grateful for my ability to be adaptable, and that has allowed me to be welcome to a lot of different communities. And every single community teaches me something, not just about the world and about people, but also about myself. So that's been one of the gifts that I'm really thankful for, and I'm not really sure what that second one was. It might pop into my head a little bit later, but I think community and oh yeah, and understanding what you might need. Doing self analysis and self examination and asking like, is this the best for me? Is this where I need to be? Are these people the people I need to be around? It's good questions to just test yourself with every now and then, because you're just constantly changing. Every single day, there's a little bit of progress that gets made in our journey into life. And you might come to a point where it's like, all right, I have done what I can do here. And it doesn't mean that I want to go away from this place, but it might mean that I also want to be around something else. I remember what it was. The other key is I like to be around people who can teach me something, and I like to be somebody who can teach things to others. And I think that is a really, really, really powerful and essential piece and quality to being a good member of a community. To know that there is something that I can take away from this, and there is something that I can give to them. Because you don't just want to have a take relationship. That's parasitic. I think that commensalism, I think that's the symbiotic relationship where both the host and the particle, individual, micro, whatever, benefit from each other. Like, I don't know, there's so many different examples in nature. I don't have the energy to go through those right now, but that's how we should approach community. It isn't always what can I give, and it isn't always what can I take. It should be a balance of them. Sometimes the best thing we can do for our community is just show up and be present. And other times, it's good for us to be the presenter. And you never know which role you're going to need to fulfill if you're not in community. And it is hard because it's kind of vulnerable to step out and just put yourself out there in front of a group of strangers who you don't know what they're going to think about you. You don't know what they might say. You don't know if they're going to accept you or deny you or talk about you behind your back, or they're going to embrace you with big wide arms. But you got to try it. You got to take the first step. And oftentimes, the right community will meet you with the right response. There's some places and spaces that you might step in there and you might immediately go, this ain't it for me. And that's all right. That's totally fine. Because there are also going to be places where you step in there and you say, this is exactly what I've needed and wanted. And now that I've found it, it is here. But in order for us to, again, to even begin to question if a community is right for us, we got to go out and discover it. And it's really interesting because in this world, like, again, we throw the word around so much. We have digital communities, we have physical communities, we have hybrid versions of it. But I still think there's something about that in-person gathering. Building those networks, building those relationships. Because what you come to realize, that community is made up of a bunch of individuals. And you never know what individual might cross your path when you're in community. That's really how some of the best kind of relationships and friendships get made, is you and somebody else coming together under a larger umbrella, finding mutual goals, and then saying, well, what if we hung out outside of community? Well, that would be pretty cool, wouldn't it? And boom, you've now met somebody who at least has some similar core values to you. And that's what you want to be surrounded by these days. People who reflect who you are on the inside. Not people who reflect who you used to be, and not necessarily who you're trying to become, although it is good to be around people who you're trying to become. But it's all a balance, right? It's all a journey. It's all a path that we have to walk. But the beautiful thing is, in community, you don't have to walk alone. You don't have to walk alone. And it's so cute because I see a couple not walking alone right now, and it's just, reinforcing this belief in this tirade right now. So thank you for tuning in here, and ask yourself, what community do I need to be a part of in today's times? And last thing I'll say, because we're just gonna be upfront. Crazy political climate going on in today's times. A lot of uncertainty. Instead of us looking to the big powers and the government and the larger systems to really take care of us, we should be looking at the local levels, looking at the people who are around us and saying, how can I help you? How can you help me? How can we sustain and survive together? Because that's why we need community. For survival. I need you because I need to live. So that's it.